Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm going to be going through foundation ritual, how to build coverage, how to blend coverage, and how to have it look like it's not horrific. So let's make a start. I'm going to use a foundation. I'm going to apply a pump to the back of my hand, and the first thing we're going to do is build coverage. So I'm going to pop it on the center of my face, and what I'm going to do, you don't need a foundation brush to build coverage. You can just use your fingers, and you want to kind of massage it into the skin. And I think fingers and hands are a great way of building coverage on the skin. You don't need to use a brush for it, although you can. Just easier and cheaper. So all you want to do is build the coverage before you blend, because the beauty of the Beauty Blender is that it blends incredibly well, but that's because it removes product. So let's have a look at where we are currently. So it was a light-ish coverage that I used, so we're going to go for it just a little bit more. We're going to kind of build up a bit more coverage. So I'm just going to go kind of right back in here, and I'm really quite, can you see that I'm kind of massaging it into the skin, kind of Mary Greenwall style, with a bit of force, because the heat of your fingers, you can move it around all the contours of the face. And I'm going right around the eye, just building up as much coverage as we think we want. Now at this point you could go, okay, lovely, thanks very much, and that'll be it. But we don't want to stop here, because at this point there's several other things that I kind of feel that we need to do. So now we get a Beauty Blender. Now it's completely clean. And what I'm going to do is, with gentle pressure, I'm going back over every single area that I applied foundation. So everything is now getting blended a second time. So every single contour, every angle. And then what I do at this point, right, is I take a sponge, clean sponge, I take a tissue that I pull in half, and I wrap it in the tissue, and then I take this and I pat it over the foundation, and this is going to soak up some of the excess oil that is in the foundation, or may have been in your, moisturizer or whatever. So you're just kind of soaking it all up, but it's leaving the pigment. You're not removing anything, you're just taking away any excess oil. And I use double wear, so there's not a lot, but there's a wee bit on the tissue. So now we get to set it. So let's set it. Actually, before we set it, let's do concealer, because people will be like, you didn't use concealer. So I'll use concealer. Let's use light to medium in double wear, and let's use a YouTuber amount. Okay, so we'll go right here, and right here. Yuck. That's not nice. And let's just add a little bit on the forehead. So we're going to use the Beauty Blender directly with this, because there's so much product here, you're just going to end up with a full base of concealer. So we're just going to blend this in. And since I used the double wear, I use the same concealer. Blend, blend, blend. What is that? don't want you in my life. Leave. Leave with peace. Okay, it's there for good. Okay, and just blend the other side. Ugh. Not a fan of massive amounts of concealer. What can I say? But if you're going to do it, go for it, and just when you think you've blended the edges, blend some more, then go in with your sponge and let's just absorb anything that needs to be absorbed. Now at this point, I'm just going to kind of quickly just kind of bounce this over my nose area again, and just above my eyebrows. Have two very hot spots here above my eyebrows that are always a little bit red, and my big old nose likes to be red. Okay, so now we'll set it. So as you all know, the way I like to set foundation is with a sponge, and I like to press it into the hand, kind of knock off any excess, and then I like to pat the whole thing into the skin, so every single bit. And then to release more product rather than getting more, I just flick it and product gets released back up into it, and then I can keep going. Now doing this ensures that it's going to stay forever, but it also means that the skin is going to look very, very matte, which may not be to your liking. So if that's the case, you can add back luminosity with a setting spray, which we will do. Actually, what we will do before we do anything else is we're going to add a small amount of colour. And there's absolutely nothing on that brush. So let's add a small amount of colour. What should we use? Let's just pick the first one we see. Okay, not that one. We'll pick this one we see. We'll give it a go. Okay, so let's just add a wee bit of colour. Just a little tinkle of colour. Just a wee bit, you know? Okay, so we want this to look a bit more natural. So I'm going to add back some of the imperfections that have left the face. So I'm just going to add them back. And this is the freckle pen by Lime Crime called Sunkissed. And we're going to just add back a few kind of bits and pieces, because you then get this more natural kind of look to the skin where it looks a little bit more, you know, normal. Then I'm just going to go back over those areas, because I love a little bit of the kind of freckles just around the bridge of the nose. I'm going to take a setting spray, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the face. Now I like to use a fair amount because I used a very mattifying foundation, then powder, all that kind of stuff. And now we'll just give it a good 30 seconds. What I will do, which I never do, but because I just go and wash this off, but when you've got your skin quite even tone, there's nothing on the eyes, nothing at all. They can kind of sometimes disappear. So just adding a smattering of mascara just at the lash line. And I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes, as in so that the look doesn't become too washed out, because I got the lighting situation sorted, although my light's probably a bit bright, so that my skin was coming off quite tan in the videos, and it isn't tan in real life. I'm quite pale. And when you do all your face, you can, without there being any structure at the eye line, it can look a little bit washed out. But that's how I would go about doing a foundation, I would build coverage, blend coverage, absorb oil and excess, anything irritating like that. Then I would set with a powder puff and just kind of really pushing it into the skin. But the way that I used a lot of foundation for me, for this kind of look, because generally speaking, I'm not a big, look at that ear, I'm not a massive fan of using a lot of foundation. And I like to use what I call enough foundation and then a lot of powder, because then it's not going to go anywhere and you can get away with a lot of powder because you haven't used much foundation. Look, a normal ear now. That took a full pump to get rid of that. I have red ears, okay? It's genetic. I don't know if that's true. Let's just add something else. Okay, that's it. It's enough coverage on here. It's filmed in 4K. Interestingly enough, and I'm going to go now, some people have been very, very sweet in saying that my videos should be longer because then you get to have multiple ad breaks, and ad breaks, obviously the multiple ones, create a better revenue source, which is really kind of sweet and kind. This has been a very long video and it probably hasn't made that mark where I can have additional video, additional adverts being put in, but I really don't know how people do a 10, 20, 30, 40 minute video. I have no idea. I'm running out of words and I'm running out of the will to live. Thanks so much. See you all soon. Bye bye.